Hey guys, it's Danny here, here with another video on my investments, how it's going. Doing okay. It's year-to-date return is 9.89, like you can see there. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot more, based on what we're doing, but we'll have to see how it goes. You know, uh, Zim, which has kind of turned into the one stock in the portfolio at this time, is a bit of a wild ride. What I think is going on is that, even though there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, I think that um, there's optimism, but already the container index is starting to cool just a little bit. So, you know, uh, people are probably thinking, what happens when the music starts to slow down a little bit, so to speak. Let's go over the container index. Already, the container index is showing a little bit that it's peaking and going down. But I mean, realistically, what we're talking about 3 good quarters in a row. Just trying to just kind of gut estimate, based on prior things where we might be. And then at some point I had seen some estimate on analysis on analysts, and I won't even quote it because I can't find it again. But just my thought processes is that, looking at indexes and pricing and where I think the dividend might end for the year. Just I could be completely wrong. It's just my gut is maybe $6 for the year. Because I figure it doesn't tail off too quickly. But if we end up at $6 for a year, that's still pretty solid. But then you do have to deal with where is the price after that? If we get over the course of the next 3 months, $6 in dividends. Um, you know, but anyway, kind of that thought process that it is cooling a little bit. I don't think that we're gonna get a um, sort of a you know it going to the moon sort of thing. Although, on the other hand, there is still that possibility, and so we have to watch. On the East Coast, there is potential for the U.S. for a strike at the ports, and that's in September. I'm not sure when it would happen in September if it happens. Not following that closely, but basically there's a contract that needs to be negotiated, and they're not even at the table at this point. And I think that the union is trying to make some point that you know certain things are unacceptable. As unions do. They have their interests. They are making that point that certain things are unacceptable and they're not already coming to the table. So you would hope that, for for September, that they would already be at the table to make that, but they're not even at the table yet. Which, I would figure, that both parties probably have, you know, in mind what they want. So that they're not at the table may not be that big of a thing because once they get to the table, it may be hammered out pretty quickly. But on the other hand, I think that there's some real demands that and concerns um, that are keeping them from the table. And that could have a major impact. So while the story, one sense, while the story does show that maybe we'll just have 3 good quarters of dividends, and then who knows after that. But then who knows? I mean, maybe it kicks up again. But I'm a little more skittish myself, but still pretty fundamentally feeling solid. I mean, if we pull in $6 in dividends for the year, that's like 33%. I mean, I know it is a fairly high tax rate, but you know, that's more than 33% based on my cost basis. But I mean, who knows if it hits $6? But that's just my absolute gut, based on the charts and everything, and take that with a grain of salt. You got to figure out where you think it's going to end up, that dividend, if that's something that's important to you, and then the possibility of a price drop. But so my calls, obviously I've been messing around with it. Between this week and last week, the cost basis has got lowered by over 10 cents. I've been selling some shares and buying, just slowly lower the cost basis, not on the same days and whatnot. Also, I did sell some of the calls for a little bit of a profit and got other calls. So we also have more shares. We're up to 700 instead of 500. So that being said, the calls are a little more tight. We're definitely in some pretty tight calls. So we got a 17 call. That's pretty likely to happen. But that's a big money call. And then we got the 1750 calls. Those are also fairly likely to happen. But between that, between those two calls, how much income did I receive? I received, well, what is that? That's $775 from those calls. So, even if they get called, I've already gotten paid, so to speak. The other ones, the 18 calls, that's a little less likely, especially one of them, that's not very likely, or it may not be as likely, is it's expiring in 1 week. So, I've got 700 shares. 400 are pretty likely to get called, and 200 a little less so. But for the other one, so I got one more call to sell. I have to sell that today at some point. Probably go again with a short call. It's not likely to sell. That way, I've got, if it sells off, and I almost don't hate that scenario where they sell off, because I'm so heavily in Zim for this little portfolio. I would, if I could just, take that big, chunk of profit, um, you know, I mean, I guess that's, $775 essentially in profit for those shares. They're off the table. And then, I can look, can I, if there is um, a good reentry point, you know, um, we can go there. If not, maybe we won't worry about it, I mean, there are so many other places to invest too, so, just see where things go, how I do, feel about it, and go from there, I'm just playing it by ear, and obviously, well, the return's a little bit dragging. A lot of that's it's down 418-ish, at this time. My on my cost basis, but again, with dividends coming, I think we got at least 3 strong quarters of earnings coming up. I mean, because the one's already in the books and it's going to be strong. I mean, I can't imagine it's not going to be, but yeah, we could always be surprised. But and the next one, based on the pricing, that I think we got 2 in a row, and then based on how things are going to settle, meaning not settle quickly. I think we're getting 3 strong ones in a row. So I don't think I need to worry about the dividends. And I think that there's going to be opportunities. for this. So I feel fundamentally like where we are now is really solid. Basically, we are where we want to be. Maybe some of it, a lot of it could be played a lot better. But that we're even, pushing up into the 15%. I think that, based on the strategy that we're going on, hopefully we can push this to 20% before we start trimming or exiting. But we'll see what happens here. Anyway, I'll probably keep that short. I don't think there's a lot more to say on it. And hope you guys have a good week and good luck out there investing. And this is just for entertainment, obviously. This is just my thoughts. And you can see the disclaimer there, so you can read. So hope you have a good one, guys. All right, take care.